Price is king, it's where we belong. Stay with the dream, don't lose your way. Right way's the fire that'll light the day. Keep it simple, let the moment arrive. 3-8 trap keeps the hope alive. Hold on tight till the signal's near. Right way's the trail, we're breaking through fear.
Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for June 5th, 2025. Well, I hope everyone's having a good day. Excuse the voice here a little bit allergy, a little bit over talking yesterday with the 3-8 trap class. Thanks for everyone who attended. Thanks for all the great questions. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me. Always enjoy sharing information like that with other folks. So thank you very, very much. Let's take a look at what happened overnight here. First off, we have Asian markets that had just a little bit of a mix. Australia was down $2.90, and the Nikkei was down 192. India, however, was up 130. We saw South Korea up about 40, 41 points, something like. And then we've got Hong Kong up 250 to almost 253, and then Shanghai up $7.90. If we take a look at European markets this morning, very bullish here this morning ahead of an ECB decision. We've got the DAX up 109 points, FTSE up 2417, and CAC is up 39.25 points here this morning. If we take a look at U.S. futures, well, we were down most of the night on futures, but this morning they're pumping to the upside. We've got Dow futures coming in up $53 here at the moment. S&P 500 futures are at 675, and NASDAQ futures up 30.75 here this morning. So a little bit of bullishness in the markets here this morning. The question that we always wonder about is, will that hold through the morning? And already I'm seeing them dip just a little bit. We do have some data here today that might raise a little bit of uncertainty, and our biggest day of the week with probably the most notable stock reporting earnings after the bell today. We'll get there in just a second. Let's take a look at other things we've got going on here this morning. If we take a look at bonds had a good fall yesterday, a good pullback, and they're continuing to show a little bit of that pullback here today. Right now, 2-year bonds coming in at 3.88%. That's a significant decline here, so looking good there. We're seeing the 10-year bonds pulling back to 4.35%, and the 30-year bonds at 4.86%. So easing some of that pressure here. And if we take a look at the US dollar here this morning, our US dollar, well, we're moving still a little bit lower here on that decline right now. Dollar down about 5 cents here this morning. So keep an eye on that. We're back down here testing some recent lows in the US dollar. Watch that closely. Now, if we take a look at what the impact is here on that dollar decline on precious metals, right now we've got gold moving higher. Gold is up $21.70 an ounce, continuing to push on through, breaking through a little bit of resistance in here in the chart. That is a bullish pattern all day long. That is a bullish pattern, and what we'll be watching for, if that can continue to push, is that next area of resistance up here in gold, right in that area. Right now we're at $3,020 an ounce on gold, and silver this morning is sharply higher. Silver really popping up here at the moment. Right now we've got silver futures are up $1.24, almost $1.25 an ounce at 35 $1.89 an ounce, really moving. Copper, if we take a look at COPX here, copper showing a little bit of bullishness here this morning. We've got copper up about 11.5 cents here this morning. Platinum is up $41 an ounce, and palladium is moving up by $16.70 an ounce this morning. So that decline in the dollar really helping to inspire those precious metals higher. Remember, everyone, it's the debt situation that is causing all of this consternation in these prices, and we're not doing anything about fixing that. So at the moment, it's no surprise that we see what people would consider a little bit of safety. As the dollar declines, we see such a move into those precious metals. So keep an eye on those. If we take a look at cryptos here this morning, Bitcoin just a tiny bit lower here today, a tiny bit lower in Bitcoin terms, $410 a coin, 3.39%, and Ether is down 1.35% at 35.92 a coin lower, and red across the board in those cryptos here this morning. Now, if we take a look at oil futures, XLE, you can see, is pretty flat here, not doing a whole lot, but trying to get a little bit of a push to the upside. Right now, we've got oil futures up by 27.5 an ounce. Remember, as the dollar falls, it requires more dollars to buy the same amount of oil. So it's pretty natural when the dollar falls that we see commodity prices move higher. Oil moving up. We've got, let's see, we're up 27.5 cents a barrel at 63.12 a barrel. Brent crude coming in at 65.17 a barrel. And natural gas, pretty flat in here this morning. Right now, natural gas futures are down about a penny and a half. We're trying to hold here in UNG, so keep a close eye on that. Let's take a look at, I guess, how about we settle in and buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. I do apologize. I'm really kind of getting tired this week for some reason. It's been a very busy week, and it's going to continue this week with another e-learning session this afternoon. But that being said, let's take a look at these index charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. If we shake off that bias and take a look here at the diamonds, well, there really is no way to look at this chart with any kind of a bearish look at all. Bullish upside trend looking very, very good. We broke through this resistance, struggling to continue to push on that yesterday. We had that little bit of fade back and very light price action yesterday, waiting for something here. If those bulls can continue to find inspiration today, then let's see if we can push right up into here, test that next level of resistance in the chart, see if we can break through that. And of course, I put that next level beyond here, which is a big stretch, clear up into here on the diamonds. Now, if we take a look at our moving averages in here, we're still trying to prove that after breaking that 200-day, that we can hold it for that upside move. Watch that closely, and just remember, if the bears were to have anything to say, then the pullback could be a little bit harsh. First off, small pullback to come back and test this area of support. We kind of did that yesterday. And if those bears were to push any further than that, then we might give up this trend and start coming back down into these areas. Now, keep in mind, we're looking at 300, 400, 500 points just moving back down into this area. So be prepared. If the pullback occurs, it can move pretty quickly. Just have a plan to protect yourself in these charts. If we take a look at the SPY, very same thing, very bullish, breaking through this resistance. We're trying to prove that we can hold that. If the bulls can continue to find inspiration, that next area right up here looks like the logical place that we will test. I've got that marked here in the chart. Beyond that, we're really going to be looking at an attempt to break into all-time highs here in the SPY. So keep that in mind. Very, very bullish chart. Our upside trend, we resumed it right in here on that upside trend. So all systems go for the SPY. If the bears have anything to say, well, look for a pushback right into here to kind of grab onto that area price support. Beyond that, we're down in here. Now, just keep in mind, those are some big point moves in the market. And what we're trying to do here on the SPY is we're trying to figure out if we're going to hold this strongly above the QQQ, if we're just going to consolidate here, let all these moving averages catch up. I do worry about the possibility that a fade could come anytime, and those pullbacks can be a little bit strong. Now, the same thing is true with the QQQ, probably the most extended of the indexes out there, and we continue to push and stretch. Boy, there's just no tech that we don't love at the moment, and continuing to stretch right up in here into this next area of resistance, and that runs back over into here, as you can see. And if we can push through there, and it looks like to me there's every reason to believe we can push through there, we're going to be pushing up into this next area of price resistance in the chart, and then we're only a breath away from all-time highs in the Qs. And it seems to me like that's the intention of the institutions, to get that break above there, because anytime we get any selling that comes in on the Qs, it's immediately pushed, turned right back around to stop that from happening. So we'll see. Watch that closely. If the bears have anything to say, a pullback into here would seem pretty logical. So watch that there. And then beyond that is where we probably get a little bit of worry, as some big point moves in the pullback could occur. On our moving averages here, you can see this is why I say we're the most overextended. Here in the QQQ, we are still floating well above the 200-day moving average, and we really haven't even tested the 50-day as a support yet. We're just stretching straight up here in the market. And then IWM, Russell continuing to struggle here. We did break through this downtrend here. That's a good sign that maybe we're getting a little bit more energy coming into IWM. But then we popped our head right into this resistance that runs all the way back there to 2021 and 2022. And so far, that has just been a little bit too strong for the Russell. Hasn't been able to push that on through. If the bulls do find inspiration today, however, then watch for that push and break in here, because I think we could get a really big move to the upside if that does pop. If, however, the bears have anything to say, well, you can see that pullback right in here. We could test some of this support right in here, that trend break as a support area. If that were to fail, if we were to break back down, maybe down in here to test this resumption of the upside trend, looks like a likely possibility. And on our moving averages, a retest of that 500-day moving average doesn't seem too out of the question if those bears were to really get going. So watch that carefully. Let's take a look at our VIX. Our VIX, no fear here at all. In fact, yesterday there wasn't much of anything. It was just a lot of chop. Market's kind of waiting on something, realizing that we're overbought, but still nobody wants to sell just in the hope that we're going to break out to new record highs in here. So watch that carefully. We've got a little bit of price support right in here. If those bulls can continue to find inspiration today, then watch for that possibility that this could break on down. We might start moving down to this next area of support down there around 15.5 handles on the VIX. If the bears were to have anything to say, pushing back up here around 19 handles looks like a possibility to test some of that resistance. Breaking beyond there, we're probably looking at a little bit of fear coming in here and moving up into the 20 level of the VIX, so watch that carefully. And then if we look at our T20s, our T21-22 in here, well, this is where we just had that little bit of overbought situation yesterday at the open. We were clear up here. We were almost pinned at the ceiling in T21-22. The fade in the afternoon pulled us back, not quite so overbought at the moment. So if the bulls do find some inspiration, that little bit of a pullback in here opens up that opportunity that we can push to the upside. If the bears, however, find any reason to push, then we have that pretty good downside opportunity here in T21-22 to be paying attention to. As I've been talking this morning, our futures have faded right now. Dow futures are up 14 points. S&P 500 futures have gone into the red by 25 cents, and NASDAQ futures into the red by $3.50. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. A little bit of bouncing around here this morning as we try to work out the details of this market open. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. And our economic calendar, we do have a few things to be paying attention to. In fact, probably our most notable day here on the number of reports anyway. International trade, we got the Challenger job cut report that'll be out here this morning, so keep an eye on that. Last time we were at 101. Keep that in mind. Our international trading goods numbers, we're looking at that coming in. Consensus is suggesting quite the improvement to a negative 118 billion. Watch that closely. Obviously still not a good number for us being that far into the negative, but that's quite an improvement if that is the case. I don't know how the market might respond to that. Looking at the jobless claims, they are expecting those to come in at 235,000. Boy, I'd say if ADP numbers are right, this number could bounce quite a bit higher. Watch that carefully here, though. If it comes in like this, probably no harm, no foul. Market won't have too much reaction to that. Productivity and costs, we're looking at non-farm productivity staying flat. They're suggesting a negative 0.8, same as last time, and unit labor costs coming in at 5.7%, same as last time. Natural gas report will be in here today. We've got some bond auctions, several Fed speakers here, and then the Fed balance sheet here at the end of the day. Looking forward into Friday, remember that we've got that employment situation number. That's that big employment number. We can sometimes get a little bit of stall waiting for that number. So after we get through the volatility of the morning, don't be too surprised if we happen to just kind of stall, chop around as we wait for that. Baker Hughes and a consumer credit report will be out on Friday. If we take a look at our earnings calendar here for today, our earnings calendar, we do have some decent notables. Most of those are going to be this afternoon. So pause the video, take a screenshot of that. And I am going to move this out of the way, and we're going to look at it, some of these that are popping off here this morning. We've got Brown Foreman in here. Well, trying to get a little bit going in here out of this bottom on Brown Foreman. On that earnings report, watch that carefully. We've got CIEN that, well, there we go. CIEN that will be reporting today, trying to push a little bit higher. This is a very bullish pattern, maybe stretching right up here to the next area of price resistance, so watch that one. We've got CBRL reporting this morning. Very bullish pattern. I don't think this is reported yet, and very bullish pattern. Good area of price support in here, resting into this pattern. If this can get that bullish report, I would expect that to stretch on higher as well. We've got Momo out there that's reporting. Nice pop there on Momo. If you have an interest in those, really pushing into this next area of resistance in the chart. Keep an eye on that. And then we've got TTC. Very bullish pattern setting up in that, waiting on that earnings report, see if that can push on through to the upside. And Victoria's Secret also in a bullish pattern, waiting to see how those earnings might affect that stock as well. This afternoon, you probably saw the most notable this afternoon is going to be Broadcom, AVGO, trying to break through, breaking through all-time highs, heading into the earnings. It's one of the things we just have no concern about that anymore. We just buy heading into the earnings report, stretching big time in anticipation of that report. Broadcom really pushing, so watch that carefully on the report this afternoon. If it happens to disappoint, that could hurt. We've got BRZE that will be reporting this afternoon. Nice pattern in there. Lulu will be in there. We've got Wolf that will be reporting, and of course a few others in there. Mountain Vale Resorts and Zoomies will be in there as well. So kind of keep an eye on some of those reports for this afternoon. Let's take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube. Also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor, and that would be click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does take the time to do that. I very, very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at some of these stocks that could be setting up. Remember, they're not a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Do your own due diligence and make sure you're preparing for that possibility. At any point in time, we could get that pullback started here, a little bit of profit-taking wave coming in the market. So make sure you're planning carefully and understand the risks that you're taking in every trade that you take. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. First off, take a look at AIG in here. Insurance has been struggling here just recently, but AIG making this nice move up through this resistance in the chart. Good bullish stretch yesterday. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. And if this can rest and hold up in here, holding onto that trend, might want to keep an eye on AIG for that next potential move to the upside. Standing in there and looking just pretty darn good. Boy, our financials have been holding up really nice. You can see Schwab broke through this resistance up here. We've kind of slipped past beyond this trend just simply because I think we stretched a little bit too far, a little bit too fast. But if we can continue to find that inspiration in here, what a nice little resting consolidation that we've had in here. If those buyers can step up, I'd place a price alert like right in here and just wait and see if that guy's going to pop on through to the upside. Every reason to believe that is a possibility. I'm going to say the same with JP Morgan. Really tight resting consolidation in here. I'd just place a price alert, wait and see if that pops, and then you've got that opportunity for that to stretch right on up to these highs in JP Morgan. Keep an eye on that. Home Depot had a pretty solid move on that earnings report where we popped and then dropped. on that move and came right back into this price support area of the chart. And we've rested this pattern. Now, it is possible that Home Depot could be setting up a bear flag and we could slip to the downside. But with the energy that we've seen in the market, I would still be keeping an eye on this for that possibility that could push right on up, test this resistance, and then keep moving on through to the upside. Worth paying attention to. Take a look at WBA. Now this guy is in such a tight consolidation and in a buyout, but still in a interesting pattern here to be paying attention to here on WBA. Got to tell you, I really like the way Johnson Controls have been holding in here nice and tight in this consolidation right in here the last 4 days. This morning we're trying to pop that in the pre-market. Keep an eye there on Johnson Controls. That's looking pretty darn good. Shopify still setting up in here. You can see we've got this little, whoops, that's a 2-day chart. We've got this little wedging pattern in here. I want to go back to JCI. There we go. That pattern looks a little bit better right here. I had that unfortunately on a 2-day. Watch that carefully. That pop through here could be really nice opportunity in JCI. On Shop, this little wedging pattern in here, I think that's worth paying attention to. I've got an alert right in here. If those bulls can step up in here, I would look for that to push right on through to the upside. Still got to have Monster on that list. Monster has been a monster. Just from my first alert right over here, this run has just been beautiful. This nice little resting pattern in here setting up. If that can find those buyers and a little bit of bullishness in the market, that could easily push right on through. Loving the way Roku just is resting in this nice little consolidation, holding on to the support, coming over toward its trend. If we get any kind of bullish inspiration in the market, I would look for that to push on through to the upside. Looking pretty darn good. Liking the way GLW has responded from my alert, pushing right up here to this next area of price resistance in the chart. Don't be surprised if it has to rest here a little bit as a result of that price resistance, but that rest, we may actually get something in Broadcom today that provides inspiration here for Corning. So watch that carefully. We could see that pop right on through that resistance as well. Worth paying attention to. Gotta like the way PayPal is responding. We did push down a little bit of volatility. Good stretch here yesterday, breaking through my alert up here. I wouldn't rule out the possibility that it may still rest a little bit, but keep an eye on PayPal starting to come around. Beautiful bottoming pattern in here, and it may have some good upside potential. I'm going to say the same for XYZ. Beautiful resting pattern in here. It did pop the alert, just kind of hanging out up here, sliding over toward trend. Little bit of bullishness in the market, and there's every reason to believe that could just stretch right on through to the upside in XYZ. Keep a close eye on that. Things like TWLO, very nice bullish pattern. We just need that inspiration. We need that momentum here in the market to see if we can push on through and get up there in the chart. So watch that closely. You know, I'm just realizing that I went over the VIX today. I didn't spend much time on those T20s. And one of the things that I want to cover here is T20 101. T20 101 has continued as we've been squeezing to the upside, continued to squeeze to the upside. We're seeing the breadth of the market declining. So just be aware with that breadth declining like we have been, that we could have that situation that we could, if the selling starts, it could move quickly because we haven't seen a whole lot of bullish breadth following along with this push and this consistent stretch to the upside, hoping to get those all-time highs. And we may still get those all-time record highs here in the QQQ particularly, and then catch that immediate reversal. But watch that carefully here. Our breadth is not following this stretch to the upside, so be aware of that. In our T2108, turned a little bit lower again yesterday, back up here testing resistance. If those bulls can continue to find inspiration, I would say up here about 70% of the stocks above their 40 seem likely, and the T2107 also turned a little bit lower. This has got a little bit more of a challenge. The stocks below the 200-day, what this is showing is that we still have a lot of stocks below their 200-day, with only 33% holding above their 200-day. So kind of keep that in mind. We've got some of our averages out of whack, and it still gives us that opportunity that we could get that bearish pushback here to retest some of those levels. So right up here, we got a little bit of resistance we're watching. Maybe we can stretch right on through this area up toward 40% if we can get a good bullish push. If the bears have anything to say, maybe we're back down here testing some support in T2107. So with that, everyone, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks everyone who attended the class yesterday. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the Right Way Options trading room soon. Y'all take care, be safe. Have an awesome day.
Black and white candles, my stars in the dark. Price is my king, got that fire and spark. Right ways my ranch on the trader's trail. Trading with heart, where the